The derby of the round was a return of last year's playoff final. Crvena zvezda trashed Budućnost in Morača. With massive support from their fans, Partizan defeated Olimpija in an exciting game, while Mega easily defeated FNP in Sremska Mitrovica. j.t.d got the bragging rights in the Croatian derby against Zadar. Igoke and Krka scored their first wins of the season. We're saving the best for last with the top 5 plays of the round. Welcome to ABA League magazine. In an unexpected twist, Glenn Davis won't be playing for Zadar this year. When the former NBA champion arrived in Croatia, everyone was expecting his promotion to happen any day. However, instead of that, Davis unceremoniously left Zadar after not being able to reach an agreement about the fine print with the club. Orlando Johnson will no longer be playing for Igokea. The American was one of the team's best players when Budućnost defeated the club from Laktaš in the Super Cup. However, after this successful debut match, he finished his first season game against Mega with disappointing 4 points. The club stated that Johnson's old knee injury wasn't fully healed and that he won't be able to play with full intensity in the following period. For the second time in only 2 weeks, Crvena zvezda trashed Budućnost. In the Super Cup final in Laktaši was a kind of a general rehearsal for the clubs. This game had a much higher standing. The red and white team defeated the champion 87-71 after holding a double-digit lead for nearly 30 minutes. Milan Tomic's boys reached a double-digit lead for the first time after 7 minutes were played. Billy Baron gave the guests a boost in Morača Hall when he scored 8 points in the first quarter. In a 9-0 series that gave Zvezda a 13 points lead, he scored 2 3-pointers. Budućnost wasn't up to the task both in defense and in offense. Aleksandar Džikic's men did miss a couple of easy points, but the problems in offense are evident when you look at the statistic of only 10 team assists in 40 minutes, and that half of the points were scored from free throws. The home team managed to reduce the deficit to 5 points at the beginning, but Stratos Perperoglu and Michael Ojo swiftly reacted to bring the Belgrade team up to a 15-point lead. The experienced Greek confirmed his quality in the third quarter when, after trailing 20 points behind their opponent, the team from Podgorica invested all they have in comeback. It was a good effort, but when the result was 56-45, Perperoglu single-handedly and with apparent ease scored 20 points for Zvezda. If there was any doubt left with his series, Cirbes showed everyone that the points are going with his team to Belgrade. At one point, Crvena zvezda had a 26-point lead. The only thing the hosts could do was to reduce the deficit and ease the blow for the packed Morača Hall. The EuroLeague team finished the game with a 32 field goal percentage, and not even their excellent offensive rebounds could compensate for that. Budućnost's best player was Zvezda's former ass Alen Omić, who scored 11 points and just as much rebounds. Gordic also finished the game with 11 points, but from 14 attempts. Coach Tomic didn't have a single weak link in his team. Their best shooter was Perperoglu, but Mike Cirbes also shined with 19 points, as well as Baron, who scored 15 with 6 rebounds and 3 assists. Michael Ojo finished the game with 11 points. Joe Ragland conducted his orchestra marvelously with 11 assists. 7,000 fans filled Aleksandar Nikolić Hall for Partizan's first home game of the season. Olimpia once again proved to be a worthy opponent, but they were unable to rob the hosts of the win. After a thrilling game, Partizan triumphed 82-79. The team is enjoyed a perfect start of the season with 2 wins in the first 2 games. The duel with the boys from Ljubljana was tough, intense and high-paced throughout. The biggest advantage in the game was 8 points reached by Nenad Čanak's team at the beginning of the second quarter, after scoring 10 points to their opponent's 3. But that made the guests fight even harder. Jan Špan was, as always, especially motivated in Pionir. While Partizan managed to score a single point, Olimpia scored 10 points, 8 of which were Špan's. For a span of 6 long minutes, the black and white team was unable to score 1 point from play. Incredibly, coach Martic's team was unable to capitalize on this. Rade Zagorac, the MVP, closed the first half with a 3-pointer, but he saved his best for the second half. During the third quarter, the rivals were stealing the lead one from the other, and they opened a final quarter with an even score. With his masterful plays and bubbling energy, Zagorac brought the roof down. Another one of his 3-pointers, but the black and whites team in a 7-point advantage. However, it was the guests who scored the following 7 points. They took the lead of the final time 2.5 minutes before the very end of the game, when Begic dunked for 69-67. After that, Marcus Page scored a 3-pointer and Zagorac went 2+1 with a steady hand in a free throw shootout. Zagorac finished the game with 26 points and 3 turnovers. Page scored 13 points and Marinkovic 12. Olympia's best player was Jan Špan, who scored 24 points with 8 out of 11 field goals, including 5 3-pointers. Partizan will try to continue their winning streak in Bar, while Olimpia will host Zadar. After a weak game and defeat against Partizan on home court in the opening round, Cedevita won in the second round of the new season, beating Zadar in Krešimir Ćosić Hall by 95-85. Visitors got to +8 lead when Bell scored for 3, with just 3.5 minutes left to play until the end of the first period. Score was 23-15, but until the end of the period they didn't score at all, so the first break result was 23-19. Zadar came to 23-21 at the start of the second period, but Cedevita made another run, ended by Bell for 34-23. Next serious attack by Zadar came at the start of the second half when Božić scored from free throw line to get his team to 46-43. Later Krajina scored from the same place for 52-49. Kob scores few times from distance and Stipanovic scored and brought double-digit lead to Cedevita, 64-54, with just 2 minutes left in this period. Bell and Aguilar scored for 3 at the end of the period for 73-58, and after home team didn't had a chance for a comeback. They got their biggest +18 lead after Kob slam dunked after a turnover, and until the end Zadar only managed to soften the defeat. Cedevita ended the game with excellent 13 from 25 for 3-pointers and with 5 players with a double-digit point. Most efficient players were Bell and Kops with 14 points each. Lima added 12, while Cook added another 11 points in Cedevita's second triumph this season against Zadar. Previously, the team from Zagreb won against Zadar in quarterfinals of ABA Supercup. For Zadar, we didn't saw big new signing Glenn Davis, who abruptly left the club after just a day spent with the team. Their best players were Krajina with 21 points, while Vukovic scored 15 and Grant and Bašić added 12 each. Duel of two youngest teams of ABA Liga played in Pinki Hall in Sremska Mitrovica was won emphatically by Mega, who was better than FMP with final score 89-61. Team from Železnik was without injured Lazarevic, Paunovic, Dires and Uskokovic. In the game marked by a large number of fouls, turnovers and bad shooting percentage, home team was better and made an easy win. At the beginning of the game both teams were nervous and had problems with offensive pace. Mega survived the first half mostly by offensive rebound, mostly with the help from Bitadze and Fundic. Dejan Milojevic chose to play defense by taking over pick and roll, which FNP guards just couldn't solve. Visiting team had a lot of problems with 3-point shots, and most of their points were scored from free throw line. In the second period, Nikola Mišković had a great role for Mega, when in short interval he managed to score 7 points and bring his team a +5 lead at the halftime break. Score was 40-35. Mega broke their arrival in third period when, after defensive rebounds and opponents' turnovers, made easy points from transition. Mokoka increased the pace of home team's play and increased their 3-point shots too. FNP's coach Vladimir Jovanovic just couldn't find that perfect 5 with 24 turnovers and 13% shot rate for 3 points. His team didn't have a chance in this game. In third period, Mega scored 26 points and got the double-digit lead. That was only increased until the end of the game. Most efficient player in Mega's second triumph was Mokoka with 16 points, while in the losing team that was Spot with 16 points. In the last game of the second round, Cibona won against Igokea. Final score was 86-84. This was their first triumph in the season. For Cibona, we saw ABA League debut of Jondre Jefferson, while Igokea was without Orlando Johnson, whose contract was terminated few days before. As with most of the game's first period was eventually fought, and from very start, both teams had a very good shooting night. During the first period, Marko Ljubicic led Cibona, while visiting team was led by Lešić and Zupčić, who entered the game as a sub at the half of the period. When Zupčić scored for free, Igokea got their +6 lead, and the score was 33-27 at the beginning of the second period. Visiting team held the lead until the very end of the half, but Cibona managed to get a 50-49 lead at the break, and all that after slam dunk by Jefferson. Led by Jefferson and with a good game by Slavica, who entered from the bench, Cibona made a 15-4 run for double-digit lead of 70-60. Igokea responds with 7-0, so we went to a last break with 72-67 for home team. Cibona had advantage until Lorbek scored 2 3-point shots to tie the game at 78-78 and just 4.5 minutes left to play. Later on, Markota sinks both free throws for 82-82 and just under 2 minutes left to play. After that, we saw a couple miss the shots on both ends, and next points were scored by Adamovic. Maric responds and equalizes for Cibona with just 9 seconds left to play, after which Adamovic scored again for victory of Igokea. Cibona had no timeout left, and until the end Maric tried for free and missed. Most efficient in the losing team was Bilinovac with 17 points. Jefferson added another 15 with 7 rebounds, while Ljubicic, Rozic and Reli Ross scored 12 each. With visiting team, Zupčić had another great game with 24 points to his name. Lešić scored 19 points and 15 rebounds, while Vuk Radivojevic added another 13. Krka got their first win in ABA League this season in Novo Mesto, where in a very even game they managed to win against Mornar 80-76. First period was marked by lots of fouls and free throws, and in that kind of game home team managed better. Champions of Montenegro got a double-digit lead at the half of the period, but after first 10 minutes score was 17-22. At the beginning of the second period, Krka started playing much better in defense, and home team scored a lot of easy points. They made the 17-0 run mostly by Balažić and Marinelli, so at the halftime break Greens had +7 lead. In the third period, Krka had advantage and few times they had a +12 lead, but champion of Montenegro didn't give up in the third period. They finally started making some of 3-point shots. In that period, Mornar made 8 3-point attempts and with great rolls by Vranjes and Voller managed to make a comeback. It was clear at that point that we are in for an exciting finish, and that was exactly what we got. In that kind of game, Krka was better and mostly by precise free throws got 1-point lead with 60 seconds left to play. Mornar didn't score until the end of the game, so this is the 4th defeat from the start of the season. Most efficient players in the winning team were Lalic and Balažić with 14 points each. Marinelli scored 11, while at the visiting team that was Vranjes with 25. Igoke reached their first triumph of the season mostly thanks to Sava Lešić. The power forward spent less than 36 minutes in the game, but that was enough for him to score 19 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists and a turnover. Lešić collected 30 index points in Draženov dom and with them the title of MVP. You've been watching another edition of ABA League magazine. See you again next week with the highlights from the round 3.